Episode 2 of Drive Hard, and we're on location at Fiddlestix Billiard Cafe in Canton, Ohio, talking with Chris Szuter, who is a professional pool player. He's going to tell some road stories, and we're going to hear about his favorite music to listen to while on the road. Hey, here we are today with Chris Szuter, owner of Fiddlestix Billiard Cafe and professional pool player. Happens to be my brother. And he and I have had some debate over who has put in more miles, whether it's he or I. Plane miles, he's probably got me beat, but road miles, it's probably up for debate.
Yeah, there was 10 years of my life I was on the road a lot. But there was like 5 years of that where I was spending more time on the road than I was at home.
Right.
By far. I might have like maybe 3 or 4 like months total at home, but the rest I was just bouncing from city to city.
And how old are you then?
Well, I'm 50 now, so when that was happening, I was in my late teens to late 20s.
Okay.
So.
When was your first professional pool tournament?
I was 16 years old.
Yeah.
And Akron Open, the Color Money talked about the Akron Open as being the legendary,
nice,
tournament, and that was one of the long-standing tournaments in the nation.
I mean, this is a good deal, isn't it?
It is a good deal.
This guy won the Akron Open, Vincent. Don't be a jerk.
So
right.
We were fortunate enough to grow up in an area where we had professional pool in our backyard.
Very good, yeah. So, any particular road stories that come to mind? I know you've had a little time to think about this.
Well, there's all kinds of little ones. One that was kind of road related was I was coming back from, I want to say Boston, and I'm driving through the night, and I'm on the toll road 76, all the way through, back to, Ohio. It's ends up being a hefty toll.
Uh-huh.
I get like not all the way, and I'm getting kind of tired, so I go off to a rest stop. I pull in, and there's like a little parking area where the people that work at this McDonald's or whatever, they can park their cars. I go back there and I take a nap. Wake up a couple hours later, and I kind of like look around a little bit, and I'm like, wait, this is like an access road into a nice little town. So I actually deke out of the toll. And I saved myself like $40 some
right?
in toll. And I go into this little town. And little towns were really ideal as a pool hustler because usually you could find the big fish of a little pond.
Uh-huh.
And, they have more bravado because they're, the big fish of the, the little pond. So anyhow, I go into this town and they got a little pool hall. And there's that guy, that fish that I'm talking about. And he was like, he was a bookmaker.
Okay.
A bookie,
Yeah.
So beat him out of like $800. And I avoided the toll, the $40 some toll, and it just kind of like fell into my lap, and I'm like, wow, life is great,
Yeah,
the little moments like that. It was like, just bouncing around, finding, little honey holes like that. And,
sure.
But,
sure.
Yeah, that was a fun one though.
So you've gone through many cars in your life.
Yeah.
Mainly because you're on the road so much, or were.
Yeah, burned through a lot of cars fast because I was traveling so much.
What's your favorite car to drive out of the ones you've had?
Well, I mean, now that I'm older and I'm more established, I can get into a nicer car. But back then, I was looking in, I had like a little Honda Civic EX that was awesome, and it was set up with kind of like a little raciness to it because the guy that is like T.C. Klein, he raced for a Honda. And that was his model that he would set out in the lawn while he raced, the actual one with the roll cage.
Okay.
But it was a great looking car, and it drove great, and man, it racked up a lot of miles.
Now, weren't those cars? I know you like the sportier cars with the low profile tires. Were some of those cars a little hairy in the wintertime? I mean, we are in the Midwest.
Yeah. Well. That was front wheel drive, and actually I had a little Honda Del Sol Then, and you would think that would not be a comfortable road car, but it was a two-seater, but it was really spacious. I'm a 6'2" guy, and I fit great in the thing, and the bucket seats were just really comfortable. And in a snowstorm, I would just gun it in that thing, and it would hold a line, and if the back end got a little squirrely, I would pull the emergency brake, so it would be dragging in the back and pulling in the front, and it would just pull a line, and people were amazed how I was just bulleting through like snowstorms with that little car. So yeah, that worked good. But yeah, I like those little cars like that.
Any hairy road stories?
Well, as far as hustling or being on the road,
or breaking down, or being stranded out in the middle of nowhere, or incidences with other drivers or police, or
well, not really hairy, but I mean, like I spent a lot of time down south, and I've several times I had drug search, like, you know, dogs and stuff, like, because they're like, what are you doing here, blah blah blah, and you know, I'm like a pool hustler, and that doesn't, you know. But anyhow, like cops, you know, would pull me over. I got a couple of times where, you know, full search.
Wow. And
fortunately, you know, I didn't have so much money in my pocket where they were thinking, oh, this guy's you know, gonna buy some. You know. But it was like, kind of like right on that threshold of how much money you could have.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall the travels were pretty good because I learned to keep my head on a swivel, you know.
Right.
Because like when you're hustling pool, you kind of got to watch your surroundings. You don't want to put yourself in a bad situation. And a lot of it I did, you know, on my own. And there were spots, you know, that got a little chippy where this, you know, guy was getting angry that I'm beating him, and I would just lose it back to him because I'm by myself. You know, I don't have like, you know, a gun or anything. I'm not trying to put myself in that situation, and I just felt like if I'm gonna, you know, win, you know, $500 and have to fight my way out of it, I would rather not win that $500 and walk out, you know, without having to go to a hospital or go to jail or whatever. So, you know, I was pretty good at ducking the really tricky, you know, nuances of pool hustling.
Right.
You know, like the hustler. What they did to me. Yeah. Didn't want any of that, so yeah.
Now, I know a family favorite story of ours is the epic road trip out to California to get our cousin David and to bring him to Ohio.
Yeah. And
you guys were going to roll through Vegas on the way back.
I think it might have been Reno, actually, that we went through, But it was, you know, he had a Plymouth GTX, like a really cool old muscle car, but he wanted to bring it back to Ohio with him. So Mark Pachotic and I went to see Dave Szuter, and we flew out there one way, and then from there in the Cali area, I made a couple nice little scores in the local pool halls because, you know, nobody knew who I was.
Right.
And I just looked like a dumb little college kid. And
well, and I remember you used to pay for a lot of those trips just by winning little games along the way.
Well, yeah, I got into some nice action out in California. There was like a ring game where like 5 people are playing a game of 9-ball, and whoever makes the 9-ball gets the $40 from. But this was, you know, like you win a game, you win $200.
Yeah.
So, you know, that was a nice little match to get into, and I won like maybe $1,200 in that little setting, and you know, it was awesome because nobody knew who I was. Like in, you know, the Ohio region, it's kind of hard for me to find somebody that wants to gamble with me, even at that young age.
Sure.
But you know, over there it was like, wow, this is awesome. So we made money there, and then from there the road trip started, and we took the Plymouth GTX and we started rolling east.
Right.
And somewhere along that way, we stopped off and got some fireworks just because we were.
And how old are you guys?
I was in my late teens. I was maybe like, you know, 18, 19 or whatever. So, Dave and Mark were a couple years older than me. I think they were
20 and 21, probably.
I think they might have been both around 21.
Okay.
Because I end up getting in trouble at the casino, but that's the fireworks first. Fireworks, we pick up fireworks and we're like shooting bottle rockets out the car and just like being dorks on the highway. And a off-duty cop, it had to have been an off-duty cop, but he comes roaring up in next to us in I want to say a pickup truck or whatever, and he's like doing this. We're just laughing at him, and I think we might have shot a bottle rocket at him, because it hurt anything. But it was we're just laughing and like, whatever, dude. And anyhow, he fumbles around, and he like sticks a badge out at us, and we're like, I don't know, what we're supposed to do, because he's not, sirens or anything like that. So Dave's driving, and he just guns it, and we just go roaring like 120 mile an hour for a little stretch and dip off the highway and get away from that situation. But
funny.
Yeah, I don't think pulling over was the right idea there.
Yeah,
I think gunning it was the right idea.
Gunning was the right way to go.
So yeah, we're working our way to Reno, and we get there, and those guys want to go into the casino, and I think I'm like 18 or 19 or whatever, and I got a fake ID. It's like it said Canadian resident, like it didn't even say Providence. It was like Canada driver's license. It was real cheesy, but it got me into some bars, but not out of this jam. I'm there playing slots with these guys,
right? And
I get a tap on the shoulder, and they're like, see some ID, and I show them this stupid Canada driver's license ID, and they weren't having it. So they pull me in the back, and they're like, we're gonna take you to jail, and they just had me. They've probably done this 100 times over, so they knew how to terrify a little kid.
Right.
So I'm just there sweating bullets, and they had me in there for a half hour, and they really didn't need to. They could have just said, leave, don't ever come back. But they just wanted to torture me a little bit. Sure. So finally they're like, listen, if you ever come back into this casino again, you're definitely going to jail, and they let me go. They kept my ID, which kind of sucked. But
and have you been back to that casino since then?
Yes, I have. Yeah. As a matter of fact, they were holding professional pool tournaments there. Yeah. That in my 30s, I was participating in and did really good in those casinos. At the Sands Regency in Reno. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, it was kind of novel that I did go back to it, and it was more established then.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, that trip was fun. There was a couple little pool halls along the way we went through, and it made for a great trip because when you're traveling, you want diversion. You just don't want to bullet your way from East Coast to West Coast, and being a pool player, little pool halls were like ATM machines for me, but they're also a source of fun and break from the travel. So like my life of road tripping was really nice, where I got to kind of pick my spots where how far I wanted to go, and what areas I'd want to just stay in, and that if there was like good pool action, I would hang out in an area for a little while. But the best it seemed like money-wise I did was when I would dip and dive, and I would drive till like 4 in the morning. I would Motel 8s were actually the best for this. They would let you check in for the whole new day at 4 in the morning. A lot of places are like you gotta you gotta wait. You gotta check out at noon or whatever. Right.
I need one room.
Look, if you're pissed at me, maybe we should get separate rooms.
You get your own room.
No, I don't. I have $2 and a Casio.
But Motel 8s were really nice, and I don't know if they're still like this or not, but they would let me check in for the whole next day. So I'd get in there, I would sleep, I'd wake up, and pool halls in the afternoon usually have like, a certain style of action, and then evening there's like a different style of pool players that come in, but But I would go into the pool hall in the afternoon, check it out, maybe get some practice if it was empty, and then, just kind of like, see if there's anything there, then maybe go have dinner and then go back and check out the evening action.
Sure.
And I would play till the pool hall closed or whatever, and then I would go back to that same hotel room and get another night's sleep and check out for the, the noon that.
Right.
So I would run basically 2 sleeps in a hotel and then just wake up at noon and drive till 4 in the morning, which is a long drive, but yet.
Right.
But I clipped all around the country for, 5 years doing a lot of that.
That's cool.
Just cram, little hit and run in one little session, and then
sure,
boom to the next town.
Now I know when we're driving on the road, we like to keep time. We like to break records.
Mm-hmm.
Like to make good time. What's the farthest you've driven? What's the best time you've made? And well, I can't think of anything else to ask with that. But so go for those 2.
Well, the best time I made had to have been with my good friend Peter Barronin.
Okay.
He and I went from basically Toronto all the way to Arizona, into Arizona State University, I think below Phoenix, but we're only getting gas, and it's like gas and run, and we're cooking about 110 mile an hour in a lot of those open stretches, and I don't know what the actual time frame was, but like he was still in university, and we only had a short little spring break thing we can condense fun in, but we just absolutely hammered it.
I know I pulled a trip from Canton to Vegas to sell merchandise at a Grateful Dead show, and that took 36 hours with just fueling up and straight on through. 2 drivers.
Mm-hmm.
My co-pilot would only do 55 mile an hour. Out in the desert, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's timestamps.
So I did most of the driving. But so that had to be pretty close to that time, pulling from Toronto to Arizona.
Yeah, we just made amazing time, and I wake up, the back seat of this, flips down, and you can get into the trunk. But I'm like half in the back seat, half in the trunk, kind of like taking a nap, and I wake up and I'm like looking around. I'm like, dude, you're going 110 miles an hour and it's snowing out. And he's like, no, we're in Arizona. It's not snow. I'm like, slow down. We're in a snowstorm and you're driving on. And
it's not snow.
Yeah, we're in the northern part. And like, come on. He's like, no, that's sand. I'm like, slow down. Please slow down. You're going to kill me.
Nice.
But,
oh, yeah. Sand.
But you were saying fastest time, and then what was there?
The longest haul.
Longest haul. Well, there was coast to coast. I did that a lot, but
sure.
I would do from Canton, Ohio, and I would go see you down in Texas, and I did straight shots of that a few times because you were a hub for me to get down into Texas. And Texas, once again, they didn't know me as a pool player, so it was
Isn't
awesome.
That where you wore disguises? Dressed up like an Aggie and played around UT?
Yeah, you want to look like you belong. Actually, one of my favorite outfits was Bob Evans. I had a Bob Evans hat and shirt. I would tell people, I'm off work, and but just whatever to not look like a hustler. But back to this trip to see you. It was so boring, and I'd straight shoot it, but getting down into Arkansas and all that, it's just boring as heck. And,
and the worst roads were in Arkansas.
Yeah.
I don't know how they are these days, but it was gruesome.
Arkansas. Little Rock is an armpit. I don't know if you want to talk about
no
that.
offense to people who live in Arkansas or Little Rock, but...
Well, hopefully they cleaned it up.
Right?
Wasn't very good when I was there. But somewhere in that Arkansas area, I just got so bored. I flipped the cruise control on, and I hop in the passenger seat,
nice.
and I'm like purposely doing this like when there's finally a car that I'm gonna take, pass,
right.
And I drive by, and I even maybe hit the horn and wave to him, and I'm driving in the passenger seat, just bored out of my mind.
That's great.
But yeah, the long hauls, man. That's the one thing I don't miss about,
Yeah,
like the having to press,
right. I just can't even do it anymore at this
Yeah.
age.
Yeah, being able to enjoy being out
Yeah,
there is
yeah.
nice. And there's so much to find when you got time. Like
It's a
for
big
me,
country.
yeah, for me, I feel like I squandered a lot of opportunities because I was just pool hall, and
Sure.
just a little bit of fun in between.
Yeah.
You afforded me that being down in Texas because I could stay rent free and just poke around and enjoy university style.
Yeah.
Some of the best like pool halls and pool environments were like little university towns.
Yeah.
Find like great action and like cool people to talk to and all that.
Sure.
Those were the times where I had fun, like West Virginia State University. I think it was Morgantown.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but there's a little pool hall called the Met, and it was like there's a theater above it, and there was like down these stairs, there was a little dungeon you went down, and there's pool tables from the turn of the century.
Oh, wow.
And there's like, cool people that are like, professors and whatever, just, out there because, hitting balls because pool halls give you that kind of,
Yeah.
like the awkward individual, misfit land kind of.
Sure.
So you get all these crazy people hanging out there and cool people,
Is that one of your favorite halls?
That was a really nice one. It kind of had that old classic look, but also, cool people and good action. There was one in Durham, North Carolina that was awesome. That was really had really cool vibe like that as well. One that was really neat to me was in Amarillo, Texas, and this pool hall was old like that one in Morgantown. Real old pool tables, but they had like chalk up on the like a little chalk on a string, and it had like a weight system, and you pull it down, and you're like chirka, 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 and it goes back up. But the pool, like it was wood floors, and around each pool table there was this huge like 1.5 to 2 inch like trough around the circumference of the pool table because these cowboys are with their boots on and a little sand and wood floors, but after 100 years of guys doing laps around the table, they had a nice little gutter.
They got their groove on.
Yeah, the wood floors had this sanding thing of 100 years. So,
wow, that's
so
really neat.
you really got to feel the history of what happened in that pool.
Oh, that's really neat. What is the craziest or worst town to be hanging out in on all your travels?
Well, there's several that were sketchy. The border towns in Texas kind of had a little weird vibe, but that's kind of where I had to go. Like for me and just in general, like you want to find that discretional income and try and pull it away from people, and down around the border, there's like, you could either play somebody that's a drug dealer, smuggler guy, or somebody that just beat that guy, or somebody that's getting staked by the drug dealer guy.
Right.
But there was like so much, like not easy money, but people can't put their money in their bank account, so they go to the pool hall and they play around with it. And that's why Texas was such a great area to hustle in. And I worked my way through there, but I'd say the worst by far, we talked about it a second, like minutes back, Little Rock, Arkansas was such a rough little town. And like I said, I hope they got their act together.
It's been a while since you've been there.
Yeah, it's been a while, but I know for a while it was...
Well, they had some gang action, too.
Yeah, they had gang action galore, and I think, I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure they were like the highest per capita murder rate in the nation for a period of time.
Wow.
But when I would drive there, like this is, pre-cell phone, but I would, Mom would always want me to try and check in with her, every day or so.
Sure.
So I'm in Little Rock, Arkansas, and I drove to like about 8 different payphones, and they're all like cords ripped out. And this is a good little tip. If you're in a crappy little town where if you go to a convenient mart and each parking spot's got like just oil like saturated in each parking spot, because everybody's driving hoopties.
Right.
But like everything in the hotels all have like fence, like, you know, barbed wire fence where the parking deck is.
Wow.
Because they don't want your stuff getting jacked. And
Yeah.
I mean, just
That's
everywhere
crazy.
you looked, it just seemed like there was like you were in like Beirut or something.
It's music time.
It goes, 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 guillotine!
For some reason, this art reminds me of Clockwork Orange. So yeah, this is Death Grips. If you don't know about them, now you know. They are really gritty, industrial hip-hop. I think I gravitate to this because in my teenage, I was into ministry and things of that sort. But definitely keeps you awake while you're getting down the road. And if you know me, you probably know I like to drive fast, so some hard driving music while you're zigzagging through traffic. You can do no better than this. Saw these guys in concert a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, but they are really, really intense live as well. I think possibly because they're not doing like dancey club bangers, they may never get full on popular, but in my world, I like all kinds of music, but the more abstract, the better.
Atlantis, ancient, dead and dusty on the shelf. Into the pigs don't get it. No hands of shadow.
The underground hip-hop insurgents is worth checking out, not just this group. There's a lot of it out there.
For more of Chris's music picks, check out the information below.
What's it gonna be when you know young blood gonna be your helpless throne?
It's movie time.
All right. This is one of my faves.
Mine too.
If you're young, you may not know about this one, but it is hilarious.
It's a classic, the ultimate road trip movie.
Top of the morning, officer.
Hi.
Is there something I can help you with?
What the hell are you driving here?
We had a small fire last night, but we caught it in the nick of time.
Yeah, he did. Friggin' giggle fest, this whole thing. Just can't stop laughing.
Where's your other hand? Between two pillows. Those aren't pillows.
Some of the old movies I watch again, and it's like, huh? Or meh, but this one's funny, man.
Steve
all the
Martin
way
and
through.
John Candy, though, at their prime.
Smile off your rosy fucking cheeks. Then you can give me a fucking automobile, a fucking Datsun, a fucking Toyota, a fucking Mustang, a fucking Buick, 4 fucking wheels and a seat.
Yeah, you gotta watch this one. It's hilarious.
Hey, thanks for watching. Next week, we're going to be talking with Brian Baird. He's a truck driver, and he's got some great stories to tell. See you next week.